It's time for I'm Every Woman. With your host, Valerie Starks. Prepare to be empowered, inspired, and challenged to be the best version of yourself and who God wants you to be. Now, get ready for your host, Valerie Starks.
Welcome and good evening to I'm Every Woman. I hope all of you had a wonderful New Year's. I'm still saying Happy New Year, Happy New Year. We are excited, we are pumped, we are geared up, and we are so ready to present to you our new lineup of 2021 phenomenal ladies who continue to be women making it happen. You know, I'm Every Woman is all about her stories. These are real stories. These are candid exclusives. These are women behind the business, their passion, who every single day are out here doing work, not only to empower others, but because they are so empowered, they are just having a domino effect. So our mindset has not only become contagious, it has become newsworthy. And I am so glad that you continue to tune with us. Stay with us. We have so much more to offer you in 2021, and tonight is no different. I am so thrilled to present to you a woman who many of you know, Miss Tisa Sanders. She is a certified entrepreneurship and business coach. And listen, ladies, whatever you are doing tonight, please listen very carefully, because Tisa is going to navigate us through a psychological pattern. Yes, this is a psychological pattern many entrepreneurs have, and it is imposter syndrome. Okay, now we're going to talk about it a little later, but I want you to know just a little bit about this phenomenal woman, because she is indeed, I say they all are phenomenal because they are. I mean, we just have to present it as the facts, right? She is a wife. She is always on the go, and I love the fact that she has a passion for motivating, educating, and just inspiring current entrepreneurs to achieve their business success. But the multi-talented Tisa herself, not just in being a wife, because she is a serial entrepreneur, and you will get to see what I mean by that. She is an executive director and a corporate professional, again, whose passion is to inspire and assist individuals turning their dream of entrepreneurship to reality. I welcome to the show my friend, fabulous, Viva las Divas, Tisa Sanders, certified entrepreneurship and business coach, and she's also the founder of Hustle to Business Coaching. Good evening, Tisa. How are you? Thank you for joining me tonight.
Hi, Valerie. I am well into this new year. I hope you are having a happy new year thus far, first and foremost, and thank you so much for having me on your show.
Yes, and I hope I did your intro justice. I always try to pump it up.
Thank you so much for that, and you definitely live up to the title of making it happen. So thank you. I certainly appreciate you.
Yes, and so, Tisa, I'm going to let you jump right into, just give us your backstory, just kind of briefly a synopsis, and then I really want you to spend the lion's share, talking about this real syndrome, this fraud syndrome, this imposter experience, how we doubt our skills and talents that kind of keeps us from being successful, but just kind of give us a synopsis of the road to the journey you're on right now.
Absolutely. So my journey right now is to help entrepreneurs, not only entrepreneurs, but women entrepreneurs, just navigating through the world of entrepreneurship. As we know, as being an entrepreneur, there are many facets. My journey actually began at the age of 8, where as a little girl, I've had this vision of just being in a business office and in a business setting. I would always see like the older movies where, folks would be like inside of a business setting. But at that time, I didn't know what business was. I remember just going to like J.C. Penney's at the time, and now I'm telling my age because they had this big, thick catalog, and they would have like different like office equipment, like in the back of the book and things like that. I would be cutting those things out instead of cutting out like the toys in the book. I was cutting out and trying to decorate what I wanted my office to be. So I have this vision, and I would always tell people, you know, when they ask what I want to be when I grow up, I would always say a businesswoman. And growing up, I didn't have anyone that that actually looked like me, African American woman in business. So I didn't have anyone to model. In my teenage years, my father actually owned his own company. And at that particular time, I was able to kind of, you know, help out with some things and kind of seeing some behind the scenes things. And the way that my father was able to have flexibility with us as the family, that's what I wanted for myself. So I just always strived for entrepreneurship. A few things would actually creep in as in high school, I wanted to own my own hair salon and have a boutique connected together because I wanted it to be like a one-stop shop for women. And back then, like the idea of that, you know, right now it's like, you know, anybody can do it. But like back then, people thought that the idea was crazy. And I would always get shot down. Like, why would you want that? Who's going to buy into that and different things like that? So it definitely led me to just having some self-doubt within business and things like that, which actually, as we get into it more, you know, just led to some of the issues with imposter syndrome.
Okay, so now let's pause right there. That is a good pause. Talk about your own fears, because I always tell people before you can advise me on something, I need to know you've walked a mile in my shoes. So you kind of gave a wonderful, and I love that, some of the things that you've talked about, and no, you're not dating yourself. I remember that too relative to J.C. Penney. But talk about your own fears and how you were able to turn that around, but then stepping into some of the excuses that you hear like today as you work with people.
Well, yes, as far as my fears within entrepreneurship, and as you know, Valerie, I have multiple hats and multiple businesses that I wear as well. So with each venture of business and every new creation and idea, there's always a fear that actually creeps in of, will I be able to do it? For me, I love to be different. I love to just try to come up with things that no one else is doing.
Okay, and so to that point, why do you think, though, as women, why are we so afraid to explore what our dreams are? You know, so to the point, here you are, you're a serial entrepreneur, you're a founder and chair of Entrepreneur Her in the City, and founder and executive director of Market and Show Expos that, ladies, puts out some wonderful events. Unfortunately, we've got COVID going on, but Tisa has kind of mastered to establishing some of those virtual experiences. But with all that you have your hands in, even in, you know, the typical year when COVID is not in existence, why do you think that people are so afraid, and how are you able, like, what are some tips that help you get through each of the journeys and, you know, all of the platforms that you are involved with?
I believe just being afraid to step out and create something new. I know that's where it creeps in for me. Like, I will create, you know, I'll have this full idea and, you know, fabulous idea. For me, I like to be in a space of where, like, okay, no one's doing this, so this is what I'm going to jump in and do. I believe that the fears actually come a lot from that. Us as African-American women not seeing African-American women in those higher, like, corporate positions or, being billionaires and things like that. I believe that it's just a fear of, okay, I don't see it a lot. And, just as I was explaining, earlier in my life where I didn't see a lot of business women, and not only that, African American women. So when you get to being in those particular positions, it's like, okay, do I actually belong here? You know, you get this fear, and imposter syndrome starts creeping in because you don't feel worthy. You don't feel like you've worked hard to be that successful to actually be in the position that you're in.
Right. And not only that, I think in your heart, you know that you have the skill set, the professional mindset, but you also want to knock it out the park. You don't just want to do it. You want to do it and blow it out the park. So let's do this. We need to take a brief break, and when we come back, we're going to continue to talk more about fraud syndrome, imposter experience, define that a little bit more for you ladies, and we will be right back after this break. We're here, I'm Every Woman Show with Tisa Sanders, our special guest, certified entrepreneurship and business coach. Stay with us.
For all my worshipers, I mean the one that really love that glorious name of Jesus. He has all power in his hand. And come on, we're going to sing about it right now. Clap your hands with us. Say it like this. There is a name.
There is a name.
It's a glorious name.
A glorious name that I adore.
And you know what it deserves?
It's deserving of praise.
He deserves all of our praise because he's done marvelous things.
Marvelous things.
And I like this. It brings calm.
It brings calm to all.
To every one of my fears. And it helps me to weather every storm. And you give the strength.
Give strength that I need.
That's why we tell them no name is greater. Come on, say it, y'all.
Something happens when we call that name.
What's the name?
Jesus, he will bow.
I wish I had a worshiper in here, but put your hands together.
And we're back. It's I'm Every Woman with your host, Valerie Starks.
And we are back with Ms. Tisa Sanders, certified entrepreneurship and business coach and the founder of Hustle to Business Coaching. Before the break, we were talking about imposter syndrome. And for those of you, just in case you're just joining us, this is a real syndrome that is a psychological pattern where you doubt your skills, talents, or accomplishments, and you have a persistent fear of being exposed as a fraud. So even though you know you got what it takes, you still have some anxiety. It's like it creates anxiety amongst a lot of entrepreneurs. Tisa, talk a little bit about that, what you experienced, and then how you can help people overcome that.
Yes, absolutely. So imposter syndrome, it can actually creep in, at any given time for anyone. So, again, as you were giving that definition of just, doubting yourself and just feeling like people will feel a certain way about anything that you are becoming successful with. The way that I actually overcame imposter syndrome and just hear some takeaways on how you could too is just, change the narrative in your head when you have those negative thoughts of I can't do this because, or I don't belong here because I didn't work hard enough to get here to where I am. Change those negative thoughts into positive things, and also just begin with just working on yourself, improving yourself to yourself, and don't worry about what other people have to say. And my thing, Val, is now, if people say like things like, oh, you're full of yourself or you're so into yourself and things like that, I actually take it as a compliment.
Yes. Yes,
I'm like, yes, I am full of myself, self-love over here. So, yes,
right.
Thank you for that. I'm glad that you noticed that I'm taking care of myself. So, it just becomes one of those things that, as you work on yourself, that imposter syndrome will go away. And I'm not going to say that you're not going to have these doubts or fears ever, because as you go into, doing something new, or as you're working hard just to achieve different goals, you are going to have these talks of, okay, wait, can I really do this? And things like that. But more so with imposter syndrome is just worrying about what other people are going to think or say about you. And then that starts to get, into your psychological pattern where you're like, you know what, like these people are thinking this way about me, or they feel that way. I will say with starting Entrepreneur in the City, like that was started out of fear. I didn't believe, Valerie, at any point that, anybody would actually attend any networking event for women in business. And
boy, were you wrong.
They
they are attended in overwhelming numbers.
Yes, and sell out every single month when when I would have these events. But for me, like when I used to go out to networking events here in Charlotte at the time, it was just older white men, and different things like that. And if I see a black face, I'm like, hey, running and different things like that. But it wasn't really anything for women in business. And I, stepped out on fear. I was like, okay, if just one person attends, I'll be okay. And my first event, I had over 50 women that came, and I was like, oh my God. And it was phenomenal. And I was, at that time, I was thinking, okay, maybe one person, I'll be happy if even 10 came. And even at that time, imposter syndrome was kicking in, because I was like, well, I don't know how these ladies will like this. And then it just became a thing where people were like, oh, my God, like, this is so great. When's the next event? I need this. You help me, and different things like that. So, but, my imposter syndrome was definitely kicking in with Entrepreneur in the City, because I didn't think anyone would like it. And it just became something totally different than I thought that it would become, after was overcoming my imposter syndrome.
Right. Now, Tisa, we only have a few minutes left, so just a couple of things. One, I want to chime in and just say congratulations for all that you have done, continue to do in supporting other business owners. And I get, wholeheartedly, as they say, full transparency. I think even when I started this show, I had no idea it would be as successful as it is. And now, when you have people reaching out to you, from all over the place, it's just like what you said. You create your own network. I always tell people no one can do it like you do. As you know, I look at people sometimes and they try to name stuff, similar to mine, or they're, it's like a spin-off, or they're trying to do something similar. And the thing is, do you, because I'm doing me. You know what I mean? Just like you found your calling and following, we all have to do it. And even if someone tries to imitate you, because I think there's an imitation syndrome, maybe you and I can talk about that on another show. But, there's imposter syndrome, and I think there's imitator syndrome as well. And I always say mockery and imitation is the best form of flattery, so you just kill them with success the way that you do you and I do me, and if we can come together, it's going to be even better, because we're stronger, than ever, being trying to make sure that women are just basically living out their dreams every day. So I'm a person who is needing some help. Briefly, take me through, first of all, let's get into how can I contact you so that our listeners know. Give me your social media handles. I have your social media, but give them your social media handles, and then just basically leave them with food for thought. If you are a person who is in ABC position, this is how I can help you. Go.
Absolutely. So I can be found on Facebook under Tisa Sanders. So that's Tisa Sanders. And send me a friend request there. I will definitely accept you. Also, too, on Instagram, I can be located at Business is in Session, and that's Business, I-S-I-N as in Nancy, Session. So Business is in Session on Instagram. And I would love to hear from all of you ladies. I would say my food for thought with imposter syndrome is first, just identifying it. What I had to do is actually, and what helped me kind of overcome is just going to the beginning of it, which actually started for me. And we could talk about that in a different time, but it started for me back in middle school. And you can first identify it. Go back to where you think like some of these things have happened. And, just like I was stating earlier today, just work on yourself and don't think that someone is perceiving you a certain way. One thing for me and how I had to start thinking about like what other people was thinking, I would always say, oh, I'm going to post this and they're not going to like it, or they, they. I would always use the word they. And I actually couldn't put a name to who I was trying to impress, who was going to be talking about me. So I just, kind of took that and I was like, okay, well, I'm making this up, because if I can't put a name to who I'm out there trying to impress, then it doesn't exist. So the person that I'm just trying to impress now is just myself and just working on myself and self-love. So I would just encourage you all to do the same.
Awesome. And on that note, we have got to close out our show. Get in contact with Tisa. You can always reach out to the I'm Every Woman show at imakeithappenfirst@gmail.com. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We will be right back here next Sunday, 11:30 p.m. As they say, same bat time, same bat station. And we will have another phenomenal woman. Tisa, thank you for all of your expertise, and you will definitely be back with us